Lecture 13 Records, Radios, and Streaming. Oh my. From Paleolithic bone flutes to today's AI generated tracks, musicians have built, fashioned, and modified technological tools as an artistic oral art form. What is meant by technology? The term refers to tools and systems humans make to solve problems or simplify tasks. Technology is not only about microchips or computers, though electronic high-tech devices are often synonymous with the word technology. But any innovation that helps people write, perform, record, or hear music efficiently or intricately is music technology. Modern bias suggests technological innovation ought to be toward greater efficiency, faster, cheaper, streamlined. But many technological innovations have been less efficient, but have opened space for intricacy, the artistic sophistication artists pursue. The Paleolithic bone flutes we analyzed in our Ancient Instruments lecture were less efficient than the human voice, harder to play, to make, and with less range. Yet they marked the earliest technological turn in music, the shift toward instrument making. Instrument making may be the technological shift that most clearly differentiates human musics from the musics of other animals, as we discussed in our zoomusicology lecture. Music instruments are seldom merely functional. For example, today's violins require precision craftsmanship to build and complex technique to play artistically, and demanding years of training for luthiers and performers. The result is a subtle control over tone, phrasing, and dynamics that modern listeners expect. Instrument making conventions, whether amateur or professionalized, reflect the cultural, spiritual, and technological values of a society. In the Japanese shakuhachi tradition, for instance, flute making is part of a sustainable spirituality. Each artist visits a bamboo grove, meditates, selects a stem, cuts it, and fashions the instrument they will use to play. Far less efficient than purchasing a factory-made flute, this practice shows how technology use reflects broad cultural values. In Western culture, instrument materials evolved over time, but much music taught in universities and conservatories preserve a particular classical tradition. As a result, violins crafted by Antonio Stradivari, who lived from 1644 to 1737, and Guarneri del Gesù, 1698 to 1744, remain highly prized for their exquisite craftsmanship, clear and complex tone, and superior quality. Modern violins are often constructed with these masterpieces as models, and many of today's top classical violinists perform on these historic instruments. Notable players include Itzhak Perlman, Joshua Bell, and Anne-Sophie Mutter on Stradivarius, and Pinchas Zuckerman and Sarah Chang on Guarneri's. Supplemental listening, there'll be a link below again. Stradivarius and beyond, the Italian violin maker Giovanni Battista Guadagnini, and it has a link. While classical music preserves a particular era of music, other genres such as jazz, rock, country, dance, and hip-hop music adopts technological innovations. One of the most important technological advances embraced in pop music was the Moog synthesizer, invented in the 1960s, which facilitated musicians' conceptions of totally new sounds and textures that are impossible on acoustic instruments. Futuristic tones, plush bass lines, and ethereal effects were a door opened by synthesized instruments, such as the Mellotron, the ARP synthesizers, Rhodes pianos, and electric guitars with effects pedals. These instruments transmuted genres like rock, jazz, funk, dance, and hip-hop music, enlarging the musical palette of listeners as artists experimented with sound in formerly inconceivable ways. Listen to the Beatles Strawberry Fields Forever, which features flute sounds created by the mellotron, a 1960s instrument that plays loops of pre-recorded sounds on magnetic tape, producing a characteristic warble and slightly eerie texture, helping to create the dreamy, psychedelic atmosphere in this track. There's a link below. While instrument innovations expanded ways music could be crafted and performed, a parallel wave of technological development metamorphed how music was captured, preserved, and shared. Prior to the 19th century, music was notated on paper and performed by musicians who were trained in reading and interpreting music. The phonautograph, invented in 1860 by Edouard Leon Scott de Martinville, was designed to record visually a sound which could in theory be recreated. The first recording device to record a sound and play it back was Thomas Edison's phonograph, which he invented in 1877. Sound vibrations were recorded on a rotating cylinder wrapped with foil. In that year, Edison recited the song "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and later recordings included singing that as that technology improved. We'll listen to George W. Johnson's The Laughing Song, recorded on phonograph in 1897. Link below. Emil Berliner's gramophone, invented in 1887, introduced flat disc records, which became the standard format for recorded music. In the 1920s, microphones and amplifiers greatly improved sound quality. The long play LP vinyl record was developed in the 1940s, allowing up to 20 minutes of music per side. Around the same time, magnetic tape recording enabled editing and higher sound fidelity. In the 1960s, multi-track recording revolutionized the studio by allowing separate recording of instruments and vocal tracks, which could be mixed later. The compact disc, CD, was introduced in the late 1970s, with digital formatting offering greater clarity and better durability than vinyl and tape. During the 1980s, digital audio workstations, DAWs, software-based recording, editing, and mixing on computers, transformed music production. In the 1990s, MP3s and digital compression enabled widespread music file sharing and digital distribution. Finally, in the 2000s, platforms like Napster, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube dramatically changed the ways in which audiences access music. Today, artificial intelligence, AI, is reshaping music making, production, and consumption. AI tools now compose original songs, assist in songwriting, generate realistic instrument songs, and mimic the styles of famous artists. We'll listen to Yama's Hello World, which is arguably the first piece completely written by a computer without any human intervention, and was premiered on October 15, 2011 at the Caroxen Music Festival in Spain. Link below. We'll also listen to the AI remixing of Blinding Lights, which is an instance of AI producing a cover of a favorite song and adding a fresh take by mimicking the voices of two deceased singers, Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury. Link below. These technologies expand creative possibilities by offering new ways to experiment with sound and accelerate production. Yet this type of development, faster output, and replication contrasts with earlier forms of technological development we discussed, which prioritize complexity, nuance, and artistry. AI also raises important questions about authorship, creativity, and the work of human musicians. For some artists, AI becomes a collaborative tool that enhances human artistry, and for others, it diminishes a uniquely human act of musicking. Additionally, AI presents substantial ecological concerns, as the enormous computational power required for training and running these models wastes drinkable water and energy, contributing to ecological degradation and increased carbon emissions. In the end, we're left with a question. Why adopt a new technological advancement if it undermines the very conditions needed for human life and artistic expression? Music technology reflects our values, needs, and our imagination. From bone flutes to AI, these tools reshape how we compose, perform, and share music. They also compel us to consider what we truly value: human expression, cultural meaning, sustainability. As we progress, the challenge becomes to innovate in ways that augment artistry, preserve the planet, and conserve human life and music. As a final side note, I asked ChatGPT to generate an image connecting what is learned in this lecture. It offered an interesting image connecting various music technology themes covered, though not without the errors that have become standard in AI-generated content, such as 2 different spellings of mellotron, one of which labels a violin, and an unidentifiable word that could possibly be phonograph.